Now, let's start tonight with the professor of political science at University of Chicago and the author of the Substack column, The Escalation Trap, Robert Pape, retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. Also the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer, who was the lead architect of the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act. Glad you guys are all here. Professor, I'm going to begin with you out there. We've been here, we counted about 40 times, Professor. And to be clear, this would be a commitment to start or continue negotiating, not a final deal. So do you think this is some kind of a real breakthrough?
No, I don't. We are not at an end game. We're in the middle game. For 20 years, I've modeled the bombing of Iran, the trajectories it would take, the options, the stages. We are in the middle game, and it's following through that trajectory. In the middle game, Laura, the opening is where the bombs hit targets and America loses leverage, loses strategic position. In the middle game, Iran goes from survival to ambition. It actually spreads its wings. It starts to look for regional influence in a more integrated way. That's why they're talking about a new security resistance network. They've had pieces of it. Now they're talking about integrating it. They're getting more ambitious in the last 2 weeks. That's why they're upping the ante on their strikes. We hit them, they double hit us. Did that with Israel as well. And what's happening is this is causing Trump, and he would be like this anyway. The last thing I'm going to say, he's stable. But what Trump is doing is he now has a domestic political problem, Laura. Because if this was about negotiating with Iran, you wouldn't be seeing this on Truth Social. The domestic political problem for Trump is he's got two parts of MAGA, not one. He's got a big part of MAGA that wants him to hit hard.
Okay.
He's got another big part wants him to pull back. And that's what you're seeing in the middle game of the escalation trap. And I'm sorry, Laura, this is going to go on through the midterms.
Well, let's talk about this with, Admiral. The domestic policy concerns are evident. But at the negotiating table, why would Iran take the president at his word during negotiations? And if they are perhaps justified in skepticism, what does that portend for the continuation of the war?
Well, neither one of these actors is a rational, is a negotiator the other can trust. Iran for 47 years has been a country we've had trouble trusting. They've killed 1,000 Americans. They started this with a pretty aggressive killing of their own activists. So they are a regime that's hard to trust and validate with. The president, on the other hand, is the same way in these negotiations. It's very hard to understand what he's for. I do hope he keeps that blockade on, because that blockade to me is the one thing constantly pressuring the regime, much more so than this tit for tat on missile launches. I don't think that brings pressure on them in the same way the energy coercion that we're practicing through the blockade is. If he keeps that up, he might get some movement on the Iranians.
That's an important point. Jamil, the president's announcement of a deal on social media apparently caught the prime minister of Israel, Netanyahu, by surprise. Why would he be kept in the dark?
Well, it may not be that he's being kept in the dark. It may be that the deal is sort of just theoretical, right? The president keeps saying there's a deal, there's a deal, there's a deal. The Iranians aren't telling us anything about a deal, and we don't know what the deal space even looks like, right? The problem is the president wants no nuclear weapons. He wants all the enriched uranium out of Iran. Iran's never conceded that. They said they were going to open the Strait of Hormuz as part of the ceasefire. Strait of Hormuz has never been open. So we keep negotiating with them. We keep giving. They keep doing nothing. This is a win-win for them. So, sure, why not? Let them stretch it out. And so probably the reason why Bibi Netanyahu didn't know when anything was happening is it's not clear anything's actually happening.
Is the term even saying deal, even when the president talks about an agreement, a total misnomer in the actual, term of art? It needs to be applied in these conversations.
Well, that's the whole problem. Remember when Barack Obama did the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action and everyone made fun of it because it wasn't even the signed agreement? What do you think is going to happen with this memorandum of understanding? It might be signed, but it's just to your point, it's a negotiation to negotiate later. What are we getting for this thing? It's unclear, and that's what makes the whole thing so crazy.
Professor, Republican Congressman Don Bacon, he thinks Iran is exploiting the president of the United States. Listen.
Iran needs to come to us wanting a deal. Right now, we're going to them, and they are abusing the president in these negotiations, if you ask me. Because they think he wants it more than they do. Right now, they think they can. They think they have the advantage over President Trump.
So, Professor, if the president is being outplayed by seeking a deal, what's the alternative? Would a direct military conflict or a permanent diplomatic stalemate serve our interests any better?
No, it won't serve our interests, but President Trump may well find himself escalating. Laura, the big thing that's coming that will make that politician even more upset is we're about to enter the period of maximum leverage for Iran. That hasn't started yet. See, when we hit the oil inventory cliff, as we're going to do in the middle of July, end of July, August 1, that means when our inventories go down, Iran's leverage goes up and will stay up through the midterms and probably a bit beyond. So that is why there's very little chance Iran's going to cut a deal right now. Why would it cut a deal when its leverage is about to grow? Everybody knows it's going to grow. President Trump can talk down oil prices only for so long. Once that oil inventory dries up here at the end of first week of August, as all the world's experts, the actual experts, are predicting. I just spent 4 hours with them last night at the University of Chicago. They flew in from around the world. That is really going to hit, Laura, August 1. The only debate among the experts is it July 25 or August 7.
Oh, wow.
That's the actual debate. And look at that from Iran's perspective, Laura. That means they just ride this out, and then if they want to do damage to Trump, real damage to Trump, you let those gas prices go from 6 to 7 to 7.50 sometime in September 30th. Now you're talking real. This is what I think Iran's looking for.
Well, you're saying damage to the president. The American people are thinking about those numbers as well. I mean, Admiral, the president, what a difference a few hours makes, right? The president this morning appeared to have his sights on Hard Island, and then back down on the condition that a deal is finalized. He was concerned that Americans don't have the stomach for what it would take to actually be able to have that operation. Would that operation be sustainable? What is the type of stomach we're talking about for U.S. forces?
Thanks. First, I want to agree with my old shipmate, General Don Bacon. He has it exactly right on Iran. And look, Kharg Island would be a disaster. We can strike Kharg Island all we want. If we want Kharg Island to not function, sink the next ship going in and tell the next Shadow Fleet merchant we'll sink you as well. But to actually seize Kharg Island, put U.S. forces on there within 20 miles of Iranian mainland, they will be hammered with first-person view, one-way attack drones that, as the Russians and Ukrainians do to each other in a way that our troops aren't ready for. We weren't ready for Shahed drones against our bases during the first 40 days of this war. We're not ready for these one-way attack drones against our soldiers and Marines. So we need to hold off on that, use our other tools, and then come, at a later date when we've developed the right tools for our forces, we could do things like seize and hold Kharg Island.
I mean, if negotiations fail, is military escalation really the only next option?
I mean, it might be the right option right now. The president needs to get leverage back. I think Professor Pape, my professor at University of Chicago, when I was a law student there, is exactly right. We're losing leverage every day that we keep begging for a deal. The way to get leverage back might be to hit them hard. And that's the one thing the president has been willing to do. It might also be, let's reopen the strait. Let's start escorting ships the way President Ronald Reagan did through the Strait of Hormuz, dare the Iranians to hit us. The challenge is we're going to lose some soldiers, some sailors. The president doesn't want to do that. Understandable. But you can't fight a war unless you're prepared to lose lives. And the president isn't prepared to do that. The Iranians know it. That's why they're leveraging us in these negotiations.
You're uncomfortable.
Yeah, our bases are not ready for this kind of attack. Our ships are okay. They've been shooting everything down. But our bases are not ready yet for attacks by Shahed drones. We have a hole in our air defense that was that was exploited by the Iranians for 40 days. We need to fix that problem before we go back to full-scale strike operations.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much.